if that's the case, how do we build up mental strength? Is mental strength a real thing then?
I don't think so.
I think it is. Because I think if there's such thing as physical strength, there has to be a such thing as mental strength.
I mean,
and the way that I would level, and it may not be healthy, but the best way that I can attest to mental strength is endurance.
can you be too strong physically
Yeah.
to a point where it's unhealthy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I wouldn't say that you should focus on being as mentally strong as possible.
So what's the middle ground?
I would say try to be mentally healthy, whatever that means. If that means,
But you have to give at least give me some type of outlook of what do you mean when you say be mentally healthy?
if that means cutting people off, some people will say, "Oh, you're not mentally strong." Well, if you don't have to deal with these people, cut them off. And that means removing yourself from certain situations. Do that. You don't have to go through things if you don't need to.
Yeah.
And so I would say whatever keeps your mind at peace, and whatever you're doing on a day-to-day basis to keep that mind at peace, continue doing that or start doing that. That's why I would say is mentally healthy. For me, that's meditating, reading my Bible,
Yeah.
praying to God. These are the things, exercising, which is, in a weird way, yes, it does keep me physically healthy, but also keeps me mentally healthy.
Yeah.
And just removing myself from certain platforms. Instagram was one of those. Instagram didn't do anything for me outside of just me focusing on other people's lives.
Yeah.
Why am I focusing on these people's lives? I'm not even posting my life. So it was like, okay. And then, you start to wonder, like, okay, am I doing this because I want to do this? Or am I doing this because I saw this person or that person, all these people do it? And do I want Yeezys? No, but you start seeing yourself scrolling through the Yeezy store and seeing what you. So it's like, you figure out, okay, what is it that gives me peace of mind, and continue doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we're trying to focus on. Whereas mental strength is just, okay, how do I go through this even though it's not doing anything for me?
I wouldn't say it's not doing something for you.
What is it doing?
Let's say, you know what, Chen, you got this job, because most Americans go through this. You got this job, but let's say you got some debt, and you need another job to pay the other bills.
Okay.
Right? So you got to get a second job. Just something, just something to pay off the debt, right?
Okay.
You need some mental toughness to work two jobs.
Yeah.
Even if, let's say, you work your regular job 5 days and you work your part-time job 3 days. But the reason why you need mental toughness is because that second job takes away some of your mental rest. So there has to be some type of endurance that you have to have. And that's why I say, to just say flat out that it won't benefit you. There's literally things that people have to do that will benefit them, but it comes at a cost. So it's just that simple example that the common man can attest to. Working two jobs, going to school and working. Some people have the privilege of they can just focus on school, but some people got to go to school and go to work, and you got to have mental toughness to be like, okay, my mental rest is going to be in the balance for this period of time. I need to have some enduring power. And something to your point, you gave many examples of things that you do to strengthen your body physically, even to strengthen your mind mentally, right? Is there anything that, and rather, you gave an example of one thing that was affecting you mentally, that you was contributing to, and that was Instagram. And that's kind of my point right there too. We just can't talk about mental health or talk about how strong people are mentally and just skim over the fact that some of the mental weaknesses that we have, we play a major part in that. It's not just things just happening to us. It's things that we contribute to. Something like social media. A lot of us is on social media, and a lot of us is depressed. I don't know why. And I'm not talking, like I said, I'm not talking about depression disorder. I'm not talking about anything that you need to be medicated for. Something that's like, an illness. But something that you're doing to attribute to that. And I don't think a lot of people are talking about it from that angle of how you say, hey, the same way as you say you have to cut some people off, that's you contributing in some way to your mental weakness. So to me, I'm like, hey, the same way as you can be strong, you can be weak. But the same way as you cannot go to the gym, the same way as you cannot meditate, or in your case, read your Bible and things like that, you're physically and at times mentally attributing to your physical and mental weakness. So that's why I believe there's a such thing as mental strength and mental weakness, because there's things that we do to tip the scale one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just health. It's not a weakness or a strength. It's just like, are you healthy?
But people don't view it as health, though.
What do you mean?
Like, even I have a problem, or I was ignorant rather, to where like mental health and mental illness is two different things. So once I got that knowledge, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, there's things that I do that is mentally unhealthy. Mm-hmm. And I will be not honest. I'll be lying if I come out and say, oh, doing this attributed to my mental health of why I need to take a break from. But I'm like, I am the main character in my life. Mm-hmm. If there's something to your point that I can remove myself from, I have to take that responsibility of being like, hey, I'm not doing that, or I'm cutting that off, or I'm cutting that people off. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of, I feel like we live in a generation now that want to have their cake and eat it too, to where it's like, oh, you're supposed to treat me right and things like that, and you're supposed to act this way, or it's supposed to be this way. I don't want to work this long. I don't want to put in this hours. I don't want to do this. And as a company, y'all doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. But life don't yield to just one person. You know what I mean? Like, life is very complex, and it can show itself in different forms and different shapes and things like that, to where it's never going to be a straight line to where it's like, oh, it's supposed to be this way. It have to be this way. You have to, at certain times, thrive. At certain times, survive. Mm-hmm. At certain times, lay low. At certain times, like, you have to be as complex as life is. It just can't be one way. And that's what I meant by having a cake and eat it too. Like, it's just not going to be your way.
I don't think anybody's saying that it has to be one way. Okay. I think it goes back to how you said about your mentee, that life is going to do that for you.
Yeah.
So if I could remove things from my life, and I understand maybe this is the other part to what you mean when people want their cake and eat it too. And when people want to say, oh, I'm trying to be mentally healthy, but their form of, you know, or they saying, oh, I'm doing things to be mentally healthy, right? I'm removing myself. I'm cutting these people off.
Yeah.
But that includes the people that love them as well. Or, outside that, they still on Instagram looking at everybody's stuff and low-key being envious of them.
Well, some of these people who are cutting people off are not victims. Like, they are the toxic one. Like,
even if they're not, but to your point, some of these people are acting like they're the ones that are being, victimized.
Yeah.
Or, they still dealing with people that hurt them on occasion, or they're just wasting time.
Yeah.
Watching Netflix or YouTube or whatever it is. Or they not exercising, or they not, taking time for themselves, or they not removing themselves from their phones, which have shown to be detrimental to people's, mental focus.
Yeah.
And so you have these people who say that they're all for mental health, but they don't really take the steps to really become more healthy. However, this whole thing about mental strength, which is why I'm a little against it, because even for me physically, my whole thing is I want to be strong, but to a certain point, because then there's diminishing returns after that strength. And the way I do it is in a controlled environment. I don't just go outside and start picking fights with people and be like, okay, this day I'm going to fight 3-4 people and hope something, or go to like a third world country where they're war torn and people are fighting outside and say, if I survive for 2-3 years, I'm going to come back strong. I don't do that. I go to the gym. go to the gym, and I say I'm gonna lift a certain amount of weight. I'm not gonna be out here trying to lift 510 pounds a squat. Like that's not what I'm gonna do, because I seen what happens to those people. Those people go and get back surgeries.
Not all of them.
Okay, well, not gonna be my story.
Okay.